हॉस्पिटल के लिए हॉस्पिटल टू ये वेरीफाई का उन्होंने किया लेके दिखा हुआ है साइन की केस है अच्छा मैं करा रहा हूँ वो फिर दोपहर के बाद से तुम लेना चल ठीक ओके
now. So some elements you will remember, hopefully, and again, you will see how everything is connected with each other. Okay, when we start with this very special name, KISS, the first question is, what is the reason here? Why do we give this name? And maybe some of you know the KISS strategy. It's the 4 letters, K, I, and double S. And they have a special meaning, which from my point of view is a really good philosophy we can transfer to handball too, because the 4 letters are standing for keep it simple and smart. This is what we want to have in our handball philosophy. Don't make it too complex. Don't give too many explanations with exceptions from rules or something like this. Always try to come back to small, simple, or smart and simple rules that we can always use in training, that we can always use in competition. So this is the basic idea. That's why I said handball KISS. And finally, it's a good idea to name a presentation like that because we all love handball. So KISS is easy to remember. Now, in this presentation, we have 5 topics for today. Starting with the first one, it's about the 10 instructions. Once again, a quite important thing in our first session we had. So remember them and now think about how many information we had that was related to that 10 instruction. Second is the ability to play, a very important topic in general, because our basic idea is to enable the players to play handball. Strategy and tactics, they were very important in our sessions for defense and attack. Structure of the game, very important to understand how the competition is running, and from there we can transfer structure of the training, what to do in our units. So these are the 5 chapters for today. I will try to go through very quick so that we stick to the time given. Okay, now, first chapter, the 10 instructions. Very quick, very short, but always with a reminder about what we have heard in the last 22 sessions before. So first instruction is, handball is a game that is played with legs and head. So remember all the things we learned about coordination, running in different ways, forward, backward, sideward, how the players need to use that, especially in the defense, starting with the open defense with very strong movements in every direction. And the main movement always going backward, sideward, because the player in defense has to keep the position between opponent and goal. So this depends on good coordination. This depends on good step work. Second aspect in this moment, handball is played with the legs, is agility. We had a presentation about agility, basic elements, and about specific agility. And the players need to move very fast. But as you remember from specific agility, it's not something only done on the motorical aspect, but things that have to do with perception, anticipation, dealing with the information, making decisions, everything which is done in the head, that is very important part of our game too. Because handball means constantly to make decisions. Decisions as an attacker, decisions as a defender. And decision making is something that happens in our mind. So this explains again why handball is a game played with legs and head. Second instruction was about the relation between attack and defense. And in the first, we said defense structures attack. So it's always a big difference to play against an open defense or a defensive defense. We used to have sessions about open defense like man-to-man, sinking man-to-man, 3-1. Then we stepped over to 5-1, 6-0, the more defensive systems. I showed you some ideas for active and variable defense. And with all those different defense systems, you can give a certain picture, a certain image to the opponent's attack. And they have to react on that. So that's why defense is structuring the attack. And this is something we should use as the coaches in handball, because we have really a large range, a wide range of variability in different types of defending. Second aspect, the other relation is attack teaches defense. So the stronger the attackers are, the more the defenders have to do against them. And this starts especially when the attack is going for cooperation. You remember the 4 different forms of cooperation. The one-on-one pushing parallel, the crossing, the give and go, and the screen. And the more the attackers are using those different types of cooperation, the more defense needs to react on that. So it's always the fight between the 2 parts of the game, attack and defense. The attack is teaching the defense is structuring the attack. Now, in the next basic principle, in the next instruction, we came to the 4 basic principles in defense. This is instruction number 4. And we saw that there are 4 very simple, simple named the basic principles in defense. First is always find your personal opponent, no matter whether it is a man-to-man defense or whether it is a zone defense. In your position, find your opponent, or in the man-to-man defense, find your personal opponent. In that assignment, always try to take the position between opponent and goal. This is the basic position for defending. This is the position to get in contact with the opponent. This is the position that we use because the attacker wants to go to the goal and the defender is in that way. Third is observation of opponent and ball. And again, this is related with the things that happen in your head, because observation, perception, taking up information from the court is a very important basis for making decisions afterwards. So observation of opponent and ball, especially in defense, something very important. And the last one is the first type of cooperation in defense the players should use. They have to provide help to neighboring positions. So if there's a breaking through in a neighbor position, then go away from your personal attacker and try to help in the neighbor position. Again, this depends on observation and decision making. So by the time the players start to do that, they need to make decisions even in defense, not only in attack. And these 4 basic principles in defense, they are valid in zone defense, in man-to-man defense, in open, in close defense. They are really general aspects of our defending in handball. Instruction number 5 is about the 4 basic principles in attack. And very often when we were speaking about attack, about individual attack, about cooperation, about team play, we came back to the first basic principle, which is always to open the central area. This is something really very basic, because attack, first of all, is a problem of space. The more space you have, the better it is. So it's easier to attack in an open space. Then gaps are visible to the right and to the left of the defender. Space is given maybe inside the defense for cooperation in the depth. So the more space, the better for the attackers. But this depends on the positioning and the movement of the attackers. So if they take a position very close around the central area, then defense is going in that position too. And as you can imagine, the central area is closed. From an open positioning, space is open. Players can move inside. After passing the ball, again, open the central area. So very, very important to follow this first basic principle in attack. The second one is as important too. It was the one named first way for the ball possessor, or as we said in other words, the most dangerous player on the court is the one with the ball and high speed moving to opponent's goal. If you cannot go direct because it's the defender in the position between opponent and goal, go to the gap to the right and to the left. And as you remember from our cooperation in attack webinar, this is the start for the cooperation. So we need this player with the ball to surge the way to the goal. And all the other players must wait, whether the player with the ball is attacking one gap or the other gap. And the reaction of the defense that follows is the signal for what happens in cooperation afterwards. So 3 out of 4 types of cooperation started with the movement of the ball possessor. It was the one-on-one pushing, it was the crossing, and it was the screen. Only for give and go, we had the first movement of the player without ball. All the others depend on the movement of the ball possessor, and so everyone without ball has to wait for what is the ball possessor doing. That's why we say first way for the ball possessor. Next one is backstop or safety behind the ball possessor, because if the ball possessor cannot continue, cannot break through anymore, defense is stopping him, easy pass must give to someone who is behind. So that's why not everyone can run inside the defense, because they have to come out again, and easy pass to the back should be possible. And the last one is something which appears in tactical game, like attack in team play, attack against open and close defense. It's shifting the game to the other side. So if the attack is trying to penetrate the defense, is trying to move to the goal on one side, defense is decreasing the space, maybe more players come to the ball, then pass be given to the other side, to the help side of the defense, where bigger space or maybe one player plus is the given situation, which helps the attacker easily to solve that situation. So these are the 4 basic principles in attack. And you should remember that very many of these aspects from the 4 basic principles were the basic elements of our type of cooperation and of team play in attack. Basic principle number 6 was about how we start with the young generation our game. And we start in open space with an open defense, because first of all, we need to give more space to the attackers to make it easier for them to learn, because attack is always more difficult to learn, takes more time compared to defense. And then we can go back step by step in our concept of teaching handball to more close defense systems. As a remember from the conception that I introduced to you, starting with the man-to-man, coming to the sinking man-to-man, then the 3-2-1 as the first real zone defense, then 5-1, then 6-0. So this is the basic idea of starting in open space and reduce the space step by step. if players are starting with learning to play against close defense, and then afterwards they have to move in an open defense, it's still more problematic for them. First of all, because orientation and movement in open space has to develop. And second, because of decision making is much more difficult. And from the defense point of view, it's very difficult then to defend in open space when you have only been defending in small space before. So that's why this defending in open space must be part of our learning or teaching strategy with beginners. And then we come back to, let's say, normal handball with zone defense systems. But think back to our presentation for fast break and retreat. Even in some phases of the game of adults, you will have to play in open space. So learning in open space means to learn something which can be used afterwards too. Number 7 is learn to play with high speed. From the beginning, handball has to be a fast game, because if you are able to play fast from the motor component and the cognitive component, remember those two elements of the specific agility in handball, then you can, if you want to, slow down the speed in the game. But if you have always been playing in a slow way, and then you need to play fast, you will fail, you will struggle. So that's why always focus on high speed in training and competition. Don't give the players the chance to slow down easily every time. In general, they have to train and have to play in a fast way. This is what we need to develop the handball. And the last one, number 8, written in the same way, give the players the chance to use the dribbling. Now, for more than 25 years, I'm teaching and traveling in international handball. And in that time, I could very often see coaches that wanted to avoid the dribbling as an element in our game. In principle, I don't agree with that, because it's a part of our game. It's even written in the rules why we need it. And then the players should try to use the dribbling in the normal way, in the prescribed way in the rules, with the right hand, with the left hand, change of direction, change of speed, because with that they can individually use more than 3 seconds and more than 3 steps with the ball. They can create time and they can create space. And to create individual quality, to create creativity from the players, time and space with the ball is needed. Looking more time, the better it is for their decision making and everything. If they don't use the dribbling in training, but then in a certain situation in game, in competition, they have to use it. They have no experience. They are not safe using that technique. We will come to that later on once again. Okay. Instruction number 9 is about the mistakes in our game. And as we explained, making mistakes is a quite normal thing in our game, because always if attack and defense are fighting against each other, if one side is making something positive, the other side has made a mistake. So if there is a successful goal shot, it's a mistake of the goalkeeper. If there is a pass intercepted from the defense, it's a mistake from the attackers. So this is the way this game is constructed, we might say. So making mistakes is something quite normal in our game. But we have to take care what mistakes happen. Is it a mistake of bad movement? Is it a mistake of wrong technique? Or is it a mistake in decision making? And from my experience, the mistakes in decision making are very, very often the reason for something is not correct in our game. So that's why we should focus on this decision-making process of the players in a very nice way. So on one side, in teaching the techniques, always combine technical training together with perception tasks, so that they bounce and don't observe the ball, so that they pass and catch, but try to observe the goal, because this helps them. Longer time for observation means better decision-making afterwards. And on the other side, especially in tactical situations, in attack and defense, the coaches must guide the eyes of the players to the very important information, the so-called key information. So this is something which in training is very important. By the time you start with tactical moves, release actions for attackers, then you must teach the players, okay, see this defender, see this defender. If one is stepping out, this is the correct decision. If that one is stepping out, this is the right correction. So that's how the coaches have to guide the eyes of the players, because, and every one of us experienced that before, it's the players that are making the mistakes in the game, and that are making the decisions in the game. We, as the coaches, we don't decide from outside. It's always the players on the court that are making the decisions. And the last of our 10 instructions, it's the relation between competition and training. So on one way, we can say that competition determines the training. This is something which is very good for especially coaches in younger ages categories. Well, please always have a close look to what is happening in the competition. If you see the players, for instance, in a game with open defense, see what are the movements, what are the decisions, what are the technical elements the players are using in a successful action. And this has to be extracted and transferred to your training. If you see something bad, if you see a mistake, bad movement, wrong technical element, or bad decision, okay, keep it in your mind, but don't use this in your training. Only use the successful elements from the competition, transfer them to your training, and immediately you will have a good relation between competition and training, because it's always only the successful elements you use in training. So hopefully the players can use them in the competition too. And the second is, think about how you want the players to play. You want a slow game, you can train slow. You want a fast game, train fast. Because the way you train is the way you play. So that means if you don't use too many technical drills, how can the players be safe in the technical elements in the game? If you don't use open defense, how can they use open defense maybe in a moment when it is needed in the game? So everything you want to have in the competition, you must prepare it in your training. So this is the relation between training and competition, the other way around. The way you train is the way you play. So finally, this was a short trip over these 10 instructions in handball, and I tried to connect it with all the days in the last 22 sessions. In general, and this is the next chapter in this presentation, the basic idea for every coach in every category of age should be to enable the players to play on a lower level or on a higher level. This doesn't matter. It's always the question, make them able to play handball. And for this, we had this very nice definition. I like it very much. And in this definition, we found out that, first of all, the technical elements, the techniques in handball are very important, because if we want the players to use different alternatives, different actions, then we have to teach those different alternatives. So if an option is to move around the defender to the right and to the left, then the player needs to bounce the ball with the right and with the left hand on the other side. So the more technical elements we teach the player, the more they can make a decision in a game situation to use the one or the other. So that's always very important. If you focus only on one way to solve a situation, the players will never have the opportunity to make a decision between one or two, because they're only sure in one way how to do that. And especially the techniques, dribbling, pass and catch, throwing, and the basic attack movements too, they are the so-called tools for the players to solve the situation. And the more tools and the more variable tools the players have, small hammer, a big hammer, a small screwdriver, a big screwdriver, the better it is to solve situations on the court. So that's why we say techniques limit game actions or conduct in the game. And this is the reason why you have to teach the players and give them lots of alternatives. On the other side, and this is something from the first part of this definition, we have to see that using the techniques in situations or making a decision is not something which the player decides in attack, for instance, without any relation or without any information from the court. He must always do this in reaction to what the defense, what the opponent is doing. So on one side, the player in attack has to have an idea how to solve the solution. But on the other side, this must be combined with the reaction of the opponent, because not every time it's possible to feint and immediately continue in a way. So depending on the opponent's reaction, maybe slower, maybe faster, maybe not reacting, the decisions in attack must be made. So that's quite important, always to have a plan as an attacker, for instance, but always react on what the defense is doing. So it's action and reaction in the same time. And this is same from attacker's point of view and defender's point of view. And if the players are able to do that, working out a plan, how to solve the situation, act, react on what is the opponent doing, and then use the adequate alternatives, use the adequate tools, the adequate techniques, then they are able to play. This is the basic idea of this definition. So, and as we remember from one of our first sessions, this is something which is not given to the players from the start. So beginners, they play more slowly than adults. They need more time to gather all the information on the court. They need even more time to filter that information, because not every information is relevant information in the game. So that's why in younger age categories, we play in with smaller number of players, 3 against 3, 4 against 4, because with that we reduce the number of information on the court, and so a more fluent game is possible. The more information, the more difficult it is, and that's the reason why sometimes beginners play really slow. And to gather this information, to work out this information, and to make a decision and to transfer this into action, this is a process which depends really on routine. So that's why even the beginners must start with game situations, must start with this process of reading the information on the court, and even beginners must make decisions on the court. Even or sometimes we are feeling that this is producing a lot number of mistakes, but that's the reason. That's why they are called beginners. Okay, now if they start, or if we start with the beginners, it's always a game in open space, and it's always a game that is orientated to the ball. Every player wants to have the ball, so they move to the ball, and they are like a cloud of players around the ball. This is a ball-orientated game structure, and this is the opposite of the space-orientated game or space-structured game structure we have in our big game or in the adult game, when attackers and defenders take positions, and so the court is used in a nice way. And maybe you remember this one video I showed you, so that the contradiction between those two types of a game, ball-orientated and space-orientated, are really obvious to see for everybody. So you can see the light blue team, players here and here, moving to the ball. You can see on the other side, the white team in defense, two players in front try to intercept the ball, and on the other side, four players in the basic position in defense between 6 and 9 meters, and working or taking positions like we have them in a zone defense system. And this is something which is almost impossible in that category of age. So there's a contradiction between attackers and defenders, or between the two types of game. And this contradiction is between ball and space-oriented game structure. And to solve this problem, we go for an opponent-related game structure. So we start with the man-to-man defense with the young generation, the young players first. Then we have to work out the transition. First step from ball orientation to opponent orientation, which is the man-to-man defense. And second step is the opponent orientation to space orientation, which is the step from man-to-man defense to zone defense. So this is what the players should learn in the first step. And then when they learn to move and to behave according to the basic principles in defense and the basic principles in attack in the man-to-man game, in the opponent orientation, then they can transfer this to the space orientation or a game which is structured from zone defense. Now we come to chapter number 3, which is about strategy and tactics. And this is something which is now, first of all, attack orientated, because when the game starts and the attack is going to the front court, then the defense is taking position in front of them, a little bit more open or a little bit more away, doesn't matter. But in that moment, the attackers have to stop, and a kind of balance is in that moment given. And then in these balanced situations, maybe the attackers can circulate the ball, but they cannot easily score because they are not in a good position for a goal shot. So the attackers, they have to break that balance and to create a good goal shot situation. And everything we summarize under this idea of tactics is the summarization of technical elements to achieve that situation where the players can shoot easily or with a high probability of success. And we call this the game advantage. And in this game advantage situation, we can or the players can use a shot situation only shooting against goalkeeper. This is the best situation we have. So in that moment, they have the highest probability of success. So tactics is defined in that way that the game advantage should be achieved. So this happens, if possible, in the central area, because this is the area from which a goal shot can be worked out with a high probability of success. But the central area, from that definition, is flexible or variable in the size and in the shape, because it depends on the athletic preconditions and the technical preconditions of the players. So the better the wing players can shoot from a very far away position, the more this central area, the effective area where they can shoot, is opening in the width. The better they can jump and shoot from far outside, depending on athletical preconditions, the more this central area is opened in the depth. And this is the thing that is, again, related to our idea, basic strategy or basic concept of teaching young players, because in beginner's level, we don't have the skills in the wing and we don't have the skills shooting far from the backcourt. And the players have to go very close to the central part of the court, and from there they can shoot. But if there's only a small central area, which is effective for the players in attack, then the defense can cover this area easily. And without good defending, defense is still successful, because then the space for the attackers is almost not given. So this is the reason why, in an artificial way, with the open defense as a compulsory element in our teaching for the young players, then it's a situation that is a little bit more easier to control and easier to work out for the attackers. This is what we want with this open defense, to open that central area in a quite artificial way. But always the idea of the defense is not to allow the goal shot from that central area. So don't let the attackers achieve that game advantage. Keep them out of that area, push them to the side. You remember some of the basic defense systems we introduced. They had the idea always to guide the attackers to the sideline in an unattractive area where they cannot shoot or finalize the attack in a nice way. So keep them out of the central area and don't give them the chance to achieve a game advantage. This is the idea of the defense. And an active defense, additionally, reduces the options for the attackers, especially the options for the ball possessor. And this is something we need to specify a little bit. What are the options for the attackers, especially with the ball? First of all, and most dangerous for the defense, is a direct goal shot. It depends on the distance and the angle, so it depends on the position of the player with the ball. But the first option for the attacker, and the most dangerous, is still direct goal shot. In an open and active defense, the defender is in a position, according to his attacker, so far away from the goal that this first option is not given. In a defensive defense, maybe attacker is so close to the goal that after receiving the ball, he can shoot directly. So this is the difference between active defense or open defense and defensive defense. Against an open defense, this goal shot first and most dangerous action from attacker side with ball is not given. Second is breaking through. Can be to the strong side or to the weak side, strong hand or to the other side of the attacker. A good defender, again, reduces the options for the attacker, taking a position that moving on one side is not possible. Give him the invitation to the other side. So the strategy of the defender is to guide the attacker in one direction. This can be the strong side, this can be the weak side, this can be outside, close to the sideline, or inside to decrease the space in the center. If you think back about yesterday's presentation about the different defense systems we can use in one player plus or one player less situations, then especially in the wing positions, we had this change of strategy. So sometimes the idea is push them out, sometimes is push them in. And individual variability of the players in defense allows this. And the third option is to forward the ball to pass to another attacker. So maybe after a dribbling and taking up the ball, the 3 seconds are running, then forwarding the ball to the next position is the only option for the attacker. And if there's only one option, a defender should be clever and not make a foul. Try to block the pass in that moment is much more clever. Okay, so once again, we come back to a well-known picture or two well-known pictures. It's the pyramid in attack and it's the pyramid in defense. And you can see from those two, it's always the same structure, individual as the basement, cooperation in the second floor, and the top of the pyramid is the team play. So this is the structure of strategy and tactics we have in our game on the one and on the other side. And this is something which, from my point of view, is very simple and smart on the other side to remember always this triangle or always this pyramid we have for attack and for defense. Okay, coming to the structure of the game, which is chapter number 4 in this presentation. First of all, coming back to that game advantage given in 2 ways, the first and the second dimension. Here we have the 2 pictures in one slide. So you see always game advantage is an action from player with ball against open defense, winning one-on-one, easy scoring, or enforcing help from a second defender, pass to second attacker who is running free. So with that game advantage, you can create the goal shot situation, or you can create, by enforcing the help, the numerical superiority for your teammate. Second is the game advantage created from the player in the backcourt shooting against defender and goalkeeper. So this is the throwing hand advantage. This can be achieved against more defensive defense in general. So maybe in a way that the defense can only block or not interfere the shooting. The 2 videos for this we had. One more time. You see the one-on-one situation from Neagu, the left back player from Romania, who is using that 2-on-2 situation for a one-on-one breakthrough to the left side. So got it here. And once again, with the slow motion, now we have the situation 2-on-2. See the feint inside and then moving outside again, breaking through, easy shooting. And coming back again to the pictures of the pyramid, individual action in that moment, basic level. Second example for game advantage, second dimension, we had from the Russian lady team against Korea. After cooperation, second level here, we see player left back in the central area shooting against defender and goalkeeper, and they do this in a nice way. So they start with the pivot between the 2 inside defenders. circulating the ball between left back, center back, and right back. Now center back starts the move in the cooperation with a wide move to the gap between half and inside defender on the right side of the defense, of the attack. Right back player is safety behind the ball possessor, coming for the first crossing, open defense on the other side, and space given in the back of that defender. So player with ball must move in that space. And coming back to one bounce, because this one dribbling creates space, because the players can use, with the one bounce, 6 steps. It's 3 making the bounce and another 3 after that. So the space is really increased. Now she draws her defender with her, and second crossing, safety behind ball possessor on that side too. It's now left back with a wide move inside the central area, and then classical 2-on-1 situation against defender, but pivot is there. So if defense would step out, then a pass to the pivot would be the correct solution. At the moment he's shooting, no problem. Alternatively, we had the 3 variations of position advantage given in that 3 pictures you see here. So always remember that position advantage is something which depends on a movement without ball, or positioning closer to the ball, or in the 3rd dimension in the back of the defense. So in that moment, it's always the player without ball who is achieving this position advantage. And only if the pass is coming to him and he's in ball possession, then the position advantage turns to game advantage. Please keep that always in mind. From my point of view, game advantage is much more worth, because it's the player with the ball who is making the move going to the gap. So again, our examples here in video. The first from Sweden, player in the left wing position, coming from the corner, running in, and then stopping, changing direction, and going around the defender. We will see it in a slow motion after this. So first of all, go to the corner, open the central area. When the ball is with the left back, come inside, and then, because defense tries to intercept that pass, change direction, achieve the position advantage by running through the shadow of the defense, and with the pass from left back as a bounce pass here, then it's the position advantage that changes to game advantage in that moment. And again, this was small group cooperation. Now we have here a team conception worked out from Romania against Puerto Rico. And in this team conception, you can see a very nice variation again from Neagu, who was running free and achieving the position advantage at the goal area line. So it was the crossing of center back and pivot. After this, ball is forwarded to right back, but because of the open space, there is a good option for left back to run in, and then having a position advantage in that pivot position, and easily to pass from right back to the running in left back, and then she can finalize in a nice way. So quite easy. Now, bring this into a structure. We always start with a release action in attack. So this release action, to release means to start the attack and to release the advantage, can be worked out on the individual level, one-on-one, we saw it in the examples before, can be a type of cooperation, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, or can be worked out in a team play. So this is not set, but the result should be a game advantage for a player with the ball, a numerical superiority if defense is helping, or a position advantage can be achieved too. So that's why we call this action a release action, because these types of advantage should be released from that. But in game, we have to see that not immediately this leads to a goal shot situation, because we have some following action. And this following action depends on the reaction of the defense, and especially on the type of cooperation the defense is using, so they can stay or switch, they can help or double team. These are the 4 types of cooperation we introduced in one of our sessions. And depending on that, maybe you should, maybe you pass the ball. So this following action is depending on what or how the ball is circulated after the release action, depending on the defense actions. And then we come to a result, to a final situation. And in this final situation, the best would be to create a goal shot. But on the other side, mistakes can happen. So attackers can make a rule mistake, can make a technical mistake, or can make a decision mistake. And this 4 options, rule mistake, technical mistake, decision mistake, or goal shot, this will be the result of our attack after the release action. So these are the 3 steps: release action, following action, and result of the attack we always have to see. And I have a quite nice video again from Neagu, how you can, or in which you can see that release action on one side and final situation on the other side, they can be taken or can be divided over different positions. So let's see what happened in detail here. So it's a free throw situation, and see now how important this situation was. You can see the result, it's a draw, 30-30, but you see the game time, it's 69:50. So this is the last 10 seconds of overtime in that knockout match. It's Romania against Denmark, which is the home team at that moment. But now, after execution of the free throw, Neagu is in ball possession. She feints in that one-on-one situation against her defender, and then moves inside with a bounce, and then you see second defender is coming. So this is the moment the game advantage is produced. So she's winning the one-on-one situation, but in that moment, she's drawing second defender. So then, for the rest of the team, you have numerical superiority. So Neagu, with 2 defenders here, now center back in ball position, and in that moment, third defender is coming to her. So second defender coming to third defender coming to second attacker. Now right back, attacker number 3, drawing wing defender number 4. And wing finally is free and can score easily. See it in full speed. So this is the successful one-on-one. And this is the and finally goal shot from right wing position. So the game advantage was achieved from left back, but the final shot was made from right wing. And this is the very good example for that structure you saw before. Release action in one position, but finalization of the attack in a different position. So that's why we always have to take care, especially from the defense side, where is the mistake made and where is the result of that mistake appearing. The mistake is made from the individual defender against Neagu because second defender had to go for help. The result is that finally in the wing there is a goal. So, but we should not blame the wing defender. The problem starts here. Then the rest is only reaction in that game. Okay. Finally, coming to the structure of the training. And this brings a little overview over the elements we had in our webinars till today. We come again with the picture of a pyramid. This is always a good idea because it prescribes how different levels depend on each other. The basic level is here now athletic skills. This is the thing we need to work out with our players as a basis, especially coordination and agility. We talked about that. For all handball players are really important. The older they get, power and endurance, flexibility even too, belong to that athletic skills too. But if you start with the young categories, always focus on coordination and agility, very, very important. Second level, the techniques. So in this level, we talk about ball handling and dribbling, passing, catching, throwing, and the basic attack moves. They have to be worked out. We had presentations about that. This is the second level. And the third level at the end is the technical level with individual tactical skills, with cooperation of 2 or 3 players in attack, or with team conceptions, 4, 5, or all 6 players involved. And again, the picture of the pyramid says that the stronger your base is, the higher you can build up your pyramid or your building. So that's why this is the top, but this is the basis. Don't forget this in your training process. Okay, this was the final slide of the final presentation. I hope that everybody could follow this presentation in a nice way and could follow how the elements of the 22 sessions we had before were coming together in that moment. Okay, so stop it here and go back to the chat. Let's see what was coming. So this is email address from all. Bottom of my heart, provide. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm looking for a question. Thanks. Okay, my pleasure. Okay, so at the moment, no question. So I can hand over to Mr. Mohinder because I think we will have some words from officials from the Federation, I think.
So, thank you, Mr. Klaus Feldman. So you have again given us a great knowledge, and you have made a summary of all these topics which you have taught us in 22 days. So enhancing our knowledge through the repetition of some important topics. So now, not taking much time, I would like to request our President, Dr. Rama Subramani, to please say a few words on these classes. So, sir, you can unmute yourself.
Now audible?
Yeah, sir.
Okay. Good evening, good afternoon, my dear friends. Very happy in organizing this online coaching through Mr. Class. Wonderful classes, I think. Classic classes by Class. Very happy. You have shared your experience. It was wonderful. Certainly, all our coaches, Indian coaches, would have been highly benefited by your classes. Thanks a lot, Mr. Claus, first of all. I have to thank our Honorable Minister for organizing, allowing all these things. I thank Mr. DG Sai, Sandeep Pradhan, for giving this opportunity. Raj Singh Bisnoy, Senior Executive Director, who is very cooperative and helped to organize this. Thanks a lot, Mr. Bisnoy. Mohinder and Hari and his team, they have done a wonderful job in coordinating, planning, executing, and making it come true. Mr. Mohinder, Hari, and all my friends, thanks a lot from my bottom of heart. And I have to thank my federation people, secretary, treasurer, executive committee, everybody, for making this a success, great success. Dear participants, hope you would have got a good experience, sharing the experience, got your queries clarified also. Your questions, many of the questions have been either cleared by Class himself, and many of the other questions have been answered by Mohinder and Hari, I saw. Hope it would have been a great experience for you. It is really a handball time even in this lockdown period. Some useful handball time during this lockdown period. Your experience is going to make our players benefited. Our players are going to enrich their skills. Your experience, your capability increases means our players are improving. Certainly they are going to improve to a great extent internationally. They are going to prove themselves. Certainly handball going to achieve great heights. Ultimately, our players have to be benefited. Let us take handball to a higher level. Internationally, let us prove ourselves. Each coach, keep it in mind, you have to do some part in improving our handball in India. Hope, let us work together. All the handball fraternity, all the brothers and sisters of handball, we will work together for the fame and name of the handball. Let us work together for the glory of India. Let us work together for the fame of India. Jai Hind, all the best. Thanks for participating in this coaching. Let us continue our efforts to improve handball. All the best. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Mohinder.
Thank you, President Dr. Ramasubramanianji, for advising to all the participants to make bright future of handball in our country. So to work hard, and the days are not far, then our students, our players will work together and will glory in the Asian level also. So now, not taking much time, I would like to call Mr. Dr. Andeshwar Pandey, Secretary General, Handball Federation of India. So now, please hand over to Shri Andeshwar Pandey. Pandey, sir.
Okay. महेंद्र जी, सर्वप्रथम मैं आपके सभी कोचेज को बधाई देता हूं, साथ ही माननीय खेल मंत्री किरण रिजिजू जी का, स्पोर्ट्स सेक्रेटरी साहब का, डीजी शाही साहब का और सीनियर एग्जीक्यूटिव डायरेक्टर पटियाला गवनिया जी का, कि आप लोगों ने मिलकर सब एक अच्छा कोच किया। और खासकर मैं इसमें भाग लेने वाले अपने सभी कोचेज का धन्यवाद करता हूं। और बीच बीच में मैं देखता रहा हूं और ये काफी अच्छा इनको सीखने को मिला। लॉकडाउन पीरियड है, मिनिस्ट्री तो लोग पूछेंगे कैसे आप अपना स्टार्ट करोगे, तो मैं सभी कोचेस से यही करना चाहता हूं कि हैंडबॉल बॉडी कॉन्टैक्ट गेम है, तो सर्वप्रथम आप लोग बच्चों में इंडोरेंस, स्पीड, स्ट्रेंथ, इन पर विशेष ध्यान दीजिए और सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग मेंटेन करते हुए जहां है जो भी आपके ट्रेनिंग हैं उनको फिजिकली स्ट्रांग करिए, उनको फिजिकली ट्रेनिंग दीजिए। आने वाले दिनों में इंटरनेशनल हैंडबॉल फेडरेशन, एशियन हैंडबॉल फेडरेशन के कोऑपरेशन से हैंडबॉल को और लोकप्रिय बनाने के लिए, ज्यादा से ज्यादा टीमों को बाहर भेजने के लिए, ज्यादा से ज्यादा आईओ के साथ मिलके ज्यादा से ज्यादा आप लोगों को टूर दिलवाने के लिए हैंडबॉल फेडरेशन काम करता रहेगा। एक बार पुनः मैं इस प्रोग्राम के मेन जो सूत्रधार हैं, ईडी, सीनियर ईडी पटियाला कमानिया जी और डीजी साई जी, और खासकर जो मेन प्रेरणा स्रोत है खेल मंत्री किरण रिजिजू जी का बहुत बहुत आभार प्रकट करता हूं कि उन्होंने हैंडबॉल को भी इस लायक चुना। और आज एक इंटरनेशनल कोच के माध्यम से हमारे जो कोचेज हैं उनको एक ट्रेनिंग का इट इज फर्स्ट टाइम, मतलब उनको ट्रेन करने का एक काम किया गया, उनको थ्योरेटिकल नॉलेज दिया गया। इन सब के बावजूद भी जो भी काम करना है आप ही लोगों का काम करना। अगर कोचेज अच्छी जिम्मेदारी निभाएंगे, अच्छे टैलेंट निकाल के लाएंगे तो हैंडबॉल फेडरेशन निश्चित ही ठीक है।
थैंक यू।
बस
यस सर, कंटिन्यू प्लीज, कंटिन्यू सर। चलिए पांडे
हेलो।
जी 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 बोलिए सर, बीच में प्रॉब्लम आ रही थी इंटरनेट की, प्लीज कंटिन्यू।
नहीं, मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि आप सब लोग
जी थोड़ा
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। आप लोगों को आप सब लोगों को मिल के एकजुट होके काम करना है और अच्छे टैलेंट को निकाल के लाना है नेशनल चैंपियनशिप में। और भी अच्छे टैलेंट अगर आपके दिमाग में आते हैं तो उनको ट्रायल में लेके आना है, और निश्चित ही जब आप अच्छा काम करेंगे आपको अच्छा मुकाम मिलेगा। आज IHF भी, इंटरनेशनल हैंडबॉल फेडरेशन भी, एशियन फेडरेशन भी हमको पूरा सहयोग करने के लिए तैयार है। हम उसका लाभ लेंगे। हम उसका लाभ तभी ले पाएंगे जब उसका लाभ आप तक पहुंचेगा, आप लेंगे, आप खिलाड़ियों तक।
नेट प्रॉब्लम हो गया। हाँ जी,
ओके, बाय।
थैंक यू डॉक्टर अनदेशर पांडे जी। आपके जो शब्द हैं, जो आपने हमें नसीहत दी है, जो आपने हमें बोला है, हमारे सारे कोचेज मिलकर इकट्ठे होकर जो आप स्पीड, एजिलिटी, मोबिलिटी, स्ट्रेंथ ट्रेनिंग, क्योंकि ये जो टीम गेम है इसमें जब मैच खेलेंगे तो आपने बोला है कि सोशल डिस्टेंसेस नहीं रहेगा, तो जो इंडिविजुअल मोटर एबिलिटी है और टेक्निकल एस्पेक्ट्स हैं, एलिमेंट हैं, हम उनको जरूर डेवलप करेंगे ड्यूरिंग द लॉन्ग पीरियड। और अगर कोई इनविटेशन आता है तो उसमें भी हमारे जो कोचेज हैं वो अच्छी तरह टीम की सिलेक्शन करके और एक अच्छी टीम को एशियन में और सैफ गेम में भेजेंगे और कंट्री के लिए they will try to win medals. So thank you very much once again, the President Handball Federation of India and Secretary General Handball Federation of India, for giving your valuable guidelines to us. That is the future of our handball. Thank you once again. Now, on behalf of Sports Authority of India, Handball Federation of India, my colleagues, all participants, I, from the core of the heart, thank you very much, Mr. Klaus Feldman, who has accepted our request within no time. The time was very less, but he was agreed to conduct the classes. The number of classes was more, and he was already running some webinars, but I don't know how he managed, but he accepted our request. He discussed with our ED also. Then he said, okay, I will continue. You tell us the time. So he has given a lot of time, given very good, useful knowledge for the future of our country to develop our handball in our country. Hope in future also we will be in touch with him and we will try to grab more knowledge from him. Either he is taking the class, maybe at the personal level we can try to get some knowledge which will be helpful for our students, for our coaches also. So not taking much time, I would like to request Mr. CP Singh to say a few words on this topic. बोल दे।
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, on the behalf of the Department of Handball, I would like to thank our Director General, Mr. Pradhan, our Honorable worthy Senior Executive Director, Colonel Raj Singh Bisnoy, and our HFI President, Dr. Ramamurthy ji, Dr. Anandeswar Pandey ji, Honorary General Secretary. तो जिनके अथक प्रयासों से ये हम एक 20 दिन का कोचिज एजुकेशन प्रोग्राम को करने में समर्थ हुए हैं। बड़े शॉर्ट नोटिस पे ये मूवमेंट स्टार्ट हुआ था, एंड विद द कोऑपरेशन ऑफ एवरी पर्सन फ्रॉम द फेडरेशन, फ्रॉम द साई, एंड इट वाज ए joint, or you can say collaborated program with Sports Authority of India and Handball Federation of India. And from both the side, we receive 100%, more than 100%, what you can say, response. And special thanks to Mr. Klaus Feldman. He he almost covered all the topics which are required for the training, for the upliftment or the betterment of the players, right from the technical, tactical, individual, group means, and the physical requirements of the players. And the highlight of this coaching seminar was the participants. It was such a wonderful platform to meet at one time such a big number of coaches from all over the India. And Mr. Klaus Feldman, he took the classes, he explained each and every topic in a very simple way, with the simple language, with the help of the animations, with the help of the video clippings and the diagrams also. So my only request is to all the coaches who attended this webinar, please make use of this knowledge, try to implement, and whenever you require any services of our coaches, Mr. Mahendralal, Mr. Harinder and myself, you can call us. And whenever if you feel any guidance, if you need any guidance from our side, so will not hesitate to help you out or to support you in this training point of view. The only aim of our this collective work is we will work for the development of the handball, so that आने वाले टाइम में we will see the at international level or Asian Games or Olympic Games, India, there is no doubt कि हम वहाँ पे भी मेडल ला सकते हैं. जैसे हमारे सीनियर एग्जीक्यूटिव डायरेक्टर कर्नल राज सिंह बिश्नोई जी हमें बहुत प्रोत्साहित करते रहते कि हैंडबॉल इतना अच्छा गेम है, इसको पॉपुलराइज कीजिए. यहाँ से हमें 100% सपोर्ट है और 100% स्पोर्ट्स में फेडरेशन की तरफ से है, तो देयर इज नो रीजन कि हम इस चीज को अचीव नहीं कर पाएंगे. So in the end, I would like to thank my colleagues, Mr. Mahendralal and Mr. Henderpal also, for making this program success. And you can give us feedback also personally, और जो हमारा उसमें आप feedback भी दे सकते हैं future में अगर हम program करें तो उसमें और क्या-क्या topics which we can add. So once again, I'm grateful and thankful to the Sai Authority, our Senior Executive Director, Colonel Raj Singh Bisnoy, Dr. Swamiji, President, and Dr. Anandeswar Pandey. Thank you, each and everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. C.P. Singh, for your kind words. Now I request Mr. Harinder Singh to please share your view.
Good afternoon. Our President of HFI, Dr. Ramasubramanian साहब, हमारे जनरल सेक्रेटरी पांडे जी और हमारे डीजी साहब, हमारे एग्जीक्यूटिव डायरेक्टर, सीनियर एग्जीक्यूटिव डायरेक्टर बिश्नोई साहब, जिन्होंने हमें मौका दिया. ये सारा वी आर वेरी लकी we are having a department which is very cooperative among ourselves and cooperating with the high education.
Sorry, we have to take up handball to a bigger level from this stage. Mr. Klaus, I am very thankful to you for accepting the invitation, and it was our pleasure to meet you, as well as on the feedback from coaches. I'm grateful to you that they have very well understood your lectures, and we are very happy that you have been the inspirational coach as a guide and teacher. And it was very simplified manner in which the handball, the progression of handball was shown in your lecture. Right from the beginning, from the younger childhood, toward senior level, international level. How do you train? So it was very fruitful, and my association with you, very healthy one. We are seeing you in a live mode. And we'll be seeing you physically also. Towards India. And in the near future, for our next programs, it might be for the coaches, it might be for teams. We will work it out with the federation, and the federation is cooperating very sincerely to build up handball. I'm grateful to all the office bearers, the president, the secretary of the HFI, and the other executive members, and the participants especially. They have shown their patience attending the classes, as well as maintaining discipline. This is my, because in the first day some audio disturbance was there, and after that it was very smooth. We didn't have any problem. Thank you all those who have attended the courses, and best wishes for them for their training according to Mr. Klaus. Thank you. So thank you very much, Mr. Harinderpal Singh. You have also given a valuable words to the participants and our expert also. So now, before concluding, I would like to request Mr. Klaus, if you want to say something. Would you like to say something?
Yes. Finally, I have to be thankful from my side. First of all, that you gave me the opportunity to work for you, and this was something which really kept me busy in the last 23 days, because, as you know, lockdown situation in Germany is almost similar like in India, so there is no chance for us to go to the hall or to go for training and competition, so this was my main work, my focus, or the work I could focus on. I hope that all the presentations and everything was running in a fine way. Second aspect, I say thank you because you gave me the chance to present such a large number of topics, and that gave me the opportunity to work out my philosophy and my red line of how to build up all those aspects. So it's really a perfect situation for me too, and I'm very thankful that I could work for Sports Authority of India and Handball Federation of India. Thanks a lot.
Now, thank you, Mr. Klaus, for your words. Sympathetically, you have won our heart, and I hope that it looks that we will continue, but the time is not permitting us. The government have given only 23 days, but we want that this class should continue till the end of our life. So daily 1 hour we want your services, but we can't do anything. So the lockdown period is now going to over, and the number of days 23 given by the government. So thank you very much, Mr. Klaus. We will meet and we will be in touch for future of our handball in India. So once again, before concluding, I would like to thank Sports Minister, Director General, Sports Authority of India, Executive Director, Ops, Executive Director, NIS Patiala, President, Handball Federation of India, and Secretary General, Handball Federation of India. Special thanks to Mr. Klaus Feldman, who has, I think, beared so many. We have already given so many troubles to him, but very happily he has overcome that troubles and solve our situations. So thank you very much, one and all. Have a good day. See you next time when the classes will be started online. Thank you, President sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a all the day. Good day. Now we are leaving.